Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Happy New Year, Happy Kwanzaa, Merry Christmas, all of the happy holidays to you guys. I really am hoping that you guys enjoyed your New Year celebration, and it is finally 2021, and I hope you enjoyed that with your family, friends, and your loved ones. You know how like when you get into the new year, for the first week or so, you kind of like accidentally put the previous year. So like for 2020, like for the first week, I would accidentally put like 2019, like oops, haha, new year. Yeah, no. For 2021, I don't want to think of 2020. I don't want to write down 2020. Listen, January 1st, I'm making no mistakes. It's 2021 now. 2020, you've had your time to shine. Step to the side, please. Okay, so I just want to wish such a successful year. I'm so excited for all the things that it has to come. And with that being said, I just want to start off this video for my incoming nursing students. You guys have been emailing me. I actually just got a DM actually about this very topic that I'm recording today, and it's just, what do nursing students do to prepare to get into nursing school? A lot of times we're so anxious, we're so nervous, we don't know what to do. Do I read my whole anatomy book over again? Do I take a new class? Do I watch a new video? Like, do I just write all of my notes and just dip it in yellow and highlighter? Just what do I do, right? And so I'm just excited to share the tips that I've used, some of the tips that I didn't use but probably should have, and just share that with you guys so that you can decrease your anxiety. Take a deep breath. Trust me, I've been there, and I'm just so excited to let you guys know what worked for me. I just want to thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching, and if you're already here, join the Graceful fam, subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and comment down below where you're at in your nursing journey. Are you about to start? Are you nervous? Are you anxious? Are you excited? Let me know where you're at. I love to hear that from you guys, and you never know who you'll be helping out in the comments by mentioning that. So while we're at it, let's get into the video. Okay, so I'm here to drop a few gems for you guys, just a few, because I don't want to overwhelm anybody. I have so many other videos that gives you countless amount of tips, but this one is just to honestly let you know what you should be doing in the downtime that you have while getting ready for your nursing program. Or if you're already in a nursing program, this is your first or second semester, these are tips that you can still use if you haven't been doing them already, because you should always be learning. Nursing school is always something that there's always something that you don't know, so you should forever be using and learning different tips and skills, right? So with that being said, my very first tip is to do extensive research on medical terminology. Okay, I kid you not, till this day, I'm still learning new medical words. I feel like I know a substantial amount, but just yesterday I learned a new medical term while like trying to gather myself to prepare for the NCLEX. Like I learned a new word, and it was borborygmi, and I'm like, what the hell is that? Like, what is this? Mind you, it's just increased gastric fluid, or pretty much gurgling in your stomach. And it's like medical, just any medical school, nursing school, they have such these dramatic words for the simplest terms. And what I tell you, you're going to do yourself such a big favor by learning medical terminologies in advance. So for me, my first degree was in health information management, and I actually took a medical terminology class. Nursing schools, it depends on your program, but I haven't really heard of a nursing school that offers medical terminology as just a separate course. Let me know if your program does do that, but mine didn't. So I happened to take it in my previous degree, and it helped so much because it's not just teaching you all the medical terms, it's just teaching you like the prefixes, the suffixes, and if you know what itis means, then even if you don't know what tonsillitis is or whatever, for example, you know that itis means inflammation, so it has to be the inflammation of something, right? So it gets your mind thinking, and I feel like you should like go on Google. It doesn't have to be oh, now I have to go and research a class and take a class. No. I just mean, just become familiar with some of the words, some of the more common words. Go on Google, type in nursing medical terminology, just the simplest things, because I promise you, when you start to take your exams, I noticed for me that I needed to brush up on medical terminology when I would choose another answer just because I didn't know the word in the other option. So for example, if I don't know the word in B, I'm like, dang, I can't choose that one because I'm not sure what this means, so I'm gonna just go with A. lo and behold, the answer is B. You just don't know what that word is. So don't be that person that doesn't pick that option because you just don't know what that word means. You'll really do yourself a disservice, and you're not going to know everything. You're going to be at clinical. Half the times you're going to look at the medical chart and you're going to be like, what the hell is a Whipple? Like, what is this procedure? Like, what is this? And this is what I mean. Like, you're always going to be researching. Like, even while you're at clinical, I'd be whipping out my phone. Whipple, procedure where the pancreas is removed. And okay, boom, just learned something new right there. So that's what I mean. Like, always be ready to learn new words. Medical terminology, like nursing school, the whole hospital has its own language, so it would be smart if you try to learn the language. It's like going to Italy or Spain or wherever and not knowing the basics before you get there, right? When you go to a Spanish speaking country and you don't know any Spanish, you should at least know how to say al baño, hola, whatever, right? The basics, so that if you need help, you'll be able to communicate that. So medical terminology. So my next tip is pretty much something that people ask me a lot of. They're like, okay, well, I'm going into nursing school. Should I just reread my whole anatomy textbook? Because I don't even feel like smart. I don't feel ready. I don't feel like I'm a science person. Like, what am I supposed to do? Should I just retake this class? Like, what should I do? And no, sis, do not reread your whole anatomy textbook. Don't do that. But what I would recommend is totally understanding what's normal. And what I mean by that is, I personally find it very valuable to go through every body system and really know what's normal, right? So when you're in nursing school, yes, they go over what's normal, but they're teaching you diseases. They're teaching you disorders, right? So if you don't know what's normal about the lung, how can I go out the way and explain to you emphysema, COPD, and just all of these pneumonia when you're not even sure how the lung properly works to begin with, right? So that's why they, make it a point to do well in your prerequisites, because when you start nursing school, you're expected to know the basics, right? You may not be expected to know the most complex disease pathway yet, but you are expected to know how it should work properly. So go through your systems, go through neuro, go through signs of stroke, or just go through the most basic. So if it's neuro, what does it look like? What does a normal pupil size look like? What's normal? You know what I'm saying? When you're going through pretty much your heart, cardiac, what are normal cardiac, what's the blood flow of the heart? Right? If you took anatomy, you should know that. Okay? So that when you get to that class where it's like, okay, now the disorder is, now it doesn't function properly, or this, whatever doesn't happen, and now you're just like, dang, but is the ventricle on this side, or is there two on, wait, what happened was, no. So if you feel like you're like, damn, I'm not really sure, just brush up on that. Also, go as we're going down, lungs. How many lobes are in your lung? Oh, wait. Some people really don't know, and that's okay. Like, that's okay. You know what I'm saying? But this is a time where you go out your way to actually do that research. Gastro. What is the normal pathway? When you're going through musculoskeletal, do you know what is considered normal? And what I mean by that too is also, like, some people don't know where to feel for a pulse, or where, and that's okay. You don't know. That's why you're going to school, girl. It's okay. It's okay. Don't feel like, damn, I don't know. I just feel like that's not something that I would say I did, because I feel like I was already in a nursing program, so I knew some of the basics or the foundation of that already going into it. But there's a lot of people in my program that came from a completely different field, like coming from law school, being an attorney, or being an accountant. So these are fields that have nothing to do with nothing, or just having a bachelor's in psychology. These are all amazing, but then when you're coming into the field, this is a new world to you, and that's okay. But you just have to go ahead and do your research of that. And I feel like it's easier to build a foundation off of already knowing the basics. So that's my second recommendation. So my next point is kind of like piggybacking off of the last one, but I would really recommend practicing public speaking. I don't hear a lot of people on YouTube mention that, and I feel like technically that's not something that you would think you would really need to know or master, because you don't have to be a master at public speaking. Public speaking is its own realm, and you're probably thinking like, oh my god, why, Ashley? Like, why are you telling me this? I would say to practice just speaking out loud and to speaking to other people. There are some people who are shy. You would be surprised, guys. I'm actually naturally a shy person. So I know you're probably thinking like, what are you talking about? You're making videos for YouTube. But that doesn't necessarily mean that like my personality off jump, like when I go into the room I'm like, hello, like that's not always me, you know. So I would say to practice having engaging conversations that may be uncomfortable, because imagine like you're going into a patient's room and it's just the two of you guys. This person could be completely naked and that may be awkward for you, or now you are having to assess them and do a head-to-toe assessment and you're not able to communicate that to that patient. And when you're going into these rooms for the first time, you're so nervous, like even to introduce yourself. And that is something that NYU drilled in us like from early on, like just how to introduce yourself, because you think it's so hard, but you realize like it just takes practice. Like even just saying, hi, my name is Ashley, I'll be your nurse for today we're going to do a head-to-toe assessment, would you mind just pulling down your gown for me? Oh, okay, sure, no problem, let me do this and this. It's just setting the stage and setting the atmosphere that I feel like a lot of times nursing students don't think about until they're in there. You have to act, like you have to interact with patients and interact with people. And I feel like there's a lot of students that are book smart and so smart, right? But then can also be socially awkward. So you get into a patient's room and you can tell me front and back the pathway of the heart. You could tell me the disease pathway of what the heck a Whipple is, because I didn't know. You know, you could teach me. But then when it's time to go into a patient's room, you're like, I don't, you know, like that is off rip if that's my doctor or my nurse. And I feel like you can know everything, but I feel like you can't create an atmosphere with me. You can't communicate with me. That makes such a big difference, and automatically I lose a little confidence in your ability to do whatever it is that you're doing for me, even if it's just putting a band-aid on my arm. I learned that. I'll give you an example. When I first started nursing school, I was in clinical and I had to take a blood sugar, and I was really nervous because I never did it before. So I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, tell my instructor, can you come in with me? She's like, sure, no problem. We go in, and you know, the patient just, I felt like, sensed that I was not confident in taking a blood sugar. Taking a blood sugar is actually pretty simple. You just have to know the steps and then repeat them, like it's fine. But you know, I went in there and I don't know, I was just so nervous for some reason, and I feel like he sensed it. And you know, that my instructor was over me and there's nothing that was gonna happen, but he was just like, is it okay if the instructor does it, because I don't really feel comfortable. And I realized, like, I felt like my anxiety was like oozing onto the patient, and now the patient felt uncomfortable and just didn't want me to do even the simplest thing. Like, if you don't come in with practicing that confidence, yeah, a lot of the times they just don't want you to do that skill. So I would practice like that, speaking with your mom or your dad or your siblings, and just practice doing head-to-toe assessments on your family members. Anyone who is willing to let you do that, I think, is definitely a pro. So my next point that I think is also very important is about making connections. I think that a lot of the times we get into these super intense programs and we forget, yes, we're there to become a nurse. Yes, we're there to go to school and that's it. But also too, we also have to be aware that we are here to also make connections. You never know, your classmate sitting right next to you can be the hiring manager on the unit 5 years from now that you really want to be in. But you were an asshole to that person. So now they're like, ew, I didn't like her in school. You know, it's like little things like that. And it doesn't just apply to nursing school. It applies to everywhere. And for me, that's something that I had to learn early on, because like I said, naturally I'm more of a quiet person. I like to observe before I exert myself into any type of topic or situation. But you have to kind of put yourself out there politely and introduce yourself to your instructors, introduce yourself to your clinical instructor. Obviously you'll be introduced because it's a smaller group, but be that just be present, you know, make that connection, because when you graduate or in a position like I am now, you're done, you have to go back and reach out to your instructors that saw you there and have to write a recommendation for you now for work. And let's say you were that quiet person that never cared to make friends, that just wanted to be by themselves all the time, and now You have to communicate with these people in order to get a recommendation, and let's say they just don't even remember you. They don't know you, and now look, your recommendation letter is trash and you don't get the job. Nobody wants that. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants that, okay? So what I mean is just go in with the mindset to make lasting connections. Be pleasant with everyone. And I hate to say things like this because it's like common sense, right? But trust me, common sense is not so common. Make it a point to introduce yourself to your professors. Say good morning. It's the little things. Say good morning. If you don't understand something and you are nervous to raise your hand in class, meet with them after class. Hopefully we can do that in person these days, okay? Or whatever. Sign up for a Zoom meeting privately just to introduce yourself. I'm promising you it will go a long way. So I really think that doing that is important, because you never know who that person that you make a connection with, which position they can be in now. You know what I'm saying? So I think that that's very imperative. So yeah. Last but not least, because I really didn't want to make this video too long, and I didn't want to make it too long. One, because I don't want to ramble, but two, because there's really not much that you can do extensively to really walk into a nursing program and feel like, I'm so prepared. I know everything I need to know. No, it doesn't work like that. No matter how much you feel like you've prepared prior, there still may be a curveball in the nursing program that you felt like, damn, I wasn't prepared for that or whatever. Everyone's journey is different, So for me, I wanted to just give the standard staple tips and gems that I feel like regardless can apply to you before and after nursing school with that mindset. So with that being said, this is more so just like a tip to say, honestly, work-life balance is so important to me. I saved it to the end, but it's almost up there with number one for me, because you cannot, go into nursing school and just feel like, I'm gonna study every single day, 24/7, I'm not gonna eat, I'm not gonna breathe, I'm just not gonna sleep, I'm just gonna stay up and study. No, that doesn't make sense. And I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna give you an example because I did it, right? But you're like, Ashley, like, what are you talking about? Like, that's not what you told us. No. In my previous nursing program, if you've been following me, you know the story. But in my previous nursing program, when I told you guys I was dismissed, yeah, I was dismissed, but you would have thought I was dismissed because I was partying, I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do, I was out here just living my best life on campus. No. Ashley Grace was in the library for 85 to 90% of her college journey back then. I was so much so that when people would see me at events, they'd be like, oh my God, the nursing students outside? Like, wow, this must be a good event then, because Ashley came out. No, it was bad. People would not come talk to me because they're like, oh, Ashley, she's always studying. She's always to herself. I would literally stay up till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, have class at 8 studying. I would buy those power shot drinks and be drinking them. It was bad, guys. It was really bad because I just felt like, I didn't come here to party and gallivant. No, I came here to really do what I have to do and get my degree and go. But I was doing too much. Okay. Not only was I doing that, I had 3 jobs. Like, I was doing way too much, right? And that was this school that I will not name, but I personally think was trash. So imagine me doing all of that, and then I come to NYU, which has a higher respect level and is super intense, okay? Accelerated at that. Mind you, I felt so calm. There's moments where I wasn't, but I had a balance. There's days where I designated, no, today's Sunday, I did all of my work. I am going to designate an hour and a half to my favorite show, and I'm just going to sit down, drink some wine, and relax. Because you cannot keep going. You're going to crash. And with that being said, like with my previous program, kept going, still fell short. You know what I'm saying? So it goes to show that regardless of, oh my gosh, I'm going to keep going, I'm just going to study all day. I personally didn't do that, and I know people in my class that did that. We got the same grades. I'm just saying, I got into Sigma Theta Tau, the Nursing Honor Society. I'm not here to brag, you know what I'm saying? But my GPA is high. Okay, I graduated with high GPA, and I will tell you here right now, I've had 2 days without the week that I chose to just calm down, not do anything. It's doable, but it requires time management. It requires having a planner. It requires actually scheduling in your planner. Today is the day where I do X, Y, and Z. Today is the day where I do nothing. Or today is the day where half of the day is this and the other half I relax. Whatever it is, you have to have a plan. And without that work-life balance, you can't function throughout nursing school. Whether it's you have 2 kids, you have to make time for them. Whether it's you're married or you're engaged, you have to make time for your husband or your wife or whoever it is. Or just you just need mental health. Like, hello, mental health is a real thing. And I'm seeing so many people go into nursing programs and crash, not because they're not doing well academically, but mentally they're not there. It's such a topic that's not talked about, because it's like this weight on your shoulders. Like, you're in nursing school, you have to be perfect, you can't make mistakes. Obviously in the real nursing world, that's a different story, but in nursing school is your time to make mistakes because you're learning, and there's so much pressure that people put on themselves as a student. So I just feel like, make that time, make that work-life balance. Hopefully this video was of any help to you. Let me know down below, and if you haven't done so already, what are you waiting for? Subscribe, okay? But thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you guys and all of your emails and insight and comments. I see them all. And like I always say, if you're gonna do anything, make sure you do it gracefully. Bye.